The Minnesota Timberwolves currently sit at 15-9 here. As I'm recording this, it's December 9th, 2025. They're sixth in the Western Conference, 8 games back of the 23-1 Oklahoma City Thunder, who has the lead for the Western Conference in the NBA. However, due to recent questions in the air about do the Timberwolves have enough to compete in the playoffs come April, that's what we're going to talk about here on Inside the Zone with Matteo today. We're going to explore all the trade options that could happen, including a Giannis Antetokounmpo trade, Kyrie Irving, and so much more. Let's roll the intro. Let's get it. That is right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Zone with Matteo, episode 40 of season 1, a season for each year. Basically, that's how it is. Yes, we're talking all about the Timberwolves and what they can do, or what I think they should do, to elevate a threat to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Because really, it seems like in order to make the finals in the Western Conference, you're going to have to get through Oklahoma City. And to maybe even win the NBA title, you're going to have to get through Oklahoma City. So we're going to talk about the current Wolves right now, and I'll talk a little bit about if I think they have, enough to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder in a 7-game series with the team they have right now. And then, of course, we will get into the trade speculations because just a week after, in about just a week, December 15th is when all the people who signed a contract this year will be eligible to be traded. So guys like Julius Randle, Naz Reid, if you were to trade any of those guys, because you can't trade them right now because of their signed restriction. But all of those guys and across the league who signed last offseason will be eligible to be traded. So that's kind of when the trades start to happen, and then obviously the deadline is February 5th, 2026, I believe. So we still got a good 2 solid months to, for trade speculations and trades to happen. But yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about it here, see what I think, the T-Wolves should do. And so without further ado, let's talk about last night's game for a second, though. So this is actually I'm super glad I decided to do this podcast episode today. Because last night was the perfect example of one of my main points, one of my main arguments here of why this Minnesota Timberwolves team is not good enough to compete in a deep playoff run, especially if you have to play guys like the Denver Nuggets or the Oklahoma City Thunder. You look at the box score, obviously there's a loss. You see that Anthony Edwards has 40 points. You see Julius Randle has 21 points. He was 7 of 11 from the floor, 2 of 4 from three-point land, 5 of 7 from the free throw line. He had 3 rebounds, 8 assists. He didn't really turn over the ball too much, and overall he was doing pretty good. You look at Jaden McDaniels. He played 40 minutes. He scored 4 points. He was 0 for 5 from three-point land. He hit one shot from the floor, hit a couple free throws. Gobert got ejected. Very interesting call, but Gobert, hey, he was doing pretty good. He played only 21 minutes before he got ejected. I'm not going to talk about Gobert like if he was bad this game because he's been solid all season. Then you got Dante DiVincenzo. 2 points from the way you've been playing. I'm not too thrilled about that in 27 minutes, but I'll give Dante a pass. Naz Reid, 30 minutes, 6 points. Again, 2 of 10 from three-point land. Bro, you got to hit more if you're taking that many attempts. Please. Mike Conley, 0 points, 15 minutes. He's just there because I don't think the Timberwolves have I mean, they need he's like their second best point guard on your team right now because Anthony Edwards is your point guard right now, even though technically Anthony Edwards is a shooting guard, but he's playing point guard and he's looked pretty good. Jalen Clark had 3 points. Terrence Shannon had 0 points, but then Bones Highland had an insane game. 16 minutes, 14 points, 4 of 6 from 3, 5 of 8 from the floor. I personally would like to see Bones Highland play a little bit more. And then something to note here is Rob Dillingham did not play last night. I do not believe he's dealing with an injury. Somebody fact check me if I'm wrong. Down in the comments down below. And if you're in the comments down below, if you're in that comments section, you just scroll up a little bit, you see a like button, you hit a subscribe button. If you haven't done any of those things already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button before I get onto my rant. But anytime, feel free to like and subscribe. Trying to grow my channel. Trying to get 50 subscribers. Did I just say 50 subscribers? Hold on. Yeah, 50 subscribers by 2026. Exactly what we're trying to do. My bad. Sorry. Yeah, 50 subscribers by the end of 2025. So we got about 3 weeks or so. 3 weeks or so for that to happen. Let's see if we can get that to happen. It's sitting at 37 subscribers right now. And I appreciate all my subscribers. But anyway, yeah, I want to see Bones Highland play a lot more. And I liked what I saw. Obviously, he's not going to drop those numbers every night. But theoretically, he looked a little bit better than Rob Dillingham. And Dillingham has looked kind of bad. But he does have some good potential. So could you use him as a trade asset? For sure. So we will talk about that. We'll talk about the trades in a little bit. But I do want to talk, what's this main argument I keep talking about? Is like, I brought up Julius Randle's numbers. I brought everybody's numbers because overall, if Gobert wasn't ejected, I think the Timberwolves would have won this game. I think if DiVincenzo would have hit 1 or 2 more shots, they would have won this game. I think if Naz Reid would have hit 1 or 2 more shots, they would have won this game. Or even Jaden McDaniels is technically supposed to be your third star on this team. Second star should be Randle. First star is obviously Anthony Edwards. But this is the problem. As much as I respect Jaden McDaniels and Julius Randle, they're not true co-stars for this team. Not the way the Timberwolves play. The Timberwolves are this more of a 3-point shot type of team. We like to take our threes with DiVincenzo and Edwards, even with Naz a little bit. The Naz is a big man, okay? We like to take our threes, but then we also will drive in. We are, however, very good at going to the hoop going to the rim, because we do have some tall guys. Julius Randle, Jaden McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, Anthony Edwards. His drives to the basket are absolutely amazing and so fun to watch. But overall, I would say this team is more of a 3-point shot team rather than a driving, go to the rim all the time. You're going to see these kickouts all the time, trying to get Edwards the shot. And that's what it is when your star is known for his 3-point shot. He led the league in 3-point percentage last year. But we've seen these last 2-3 weeks, really since the start or like mid-November, Edwards has been balling. He has been balling. He had 40 again last night, as you can see on your screen. Nobody is even close to that number of points. And for me, a true co-star should have anywhere between 27 to 33 points. You say, well, aren't you like kind of, I don't know, being too harsh on Julius Randle? Julius Randle is a great basketball player. He is averaging 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. He is shooting almost 50% from the floor. Yes. I know. However, the amount of times he misses a shot or just seems confused. He just seems confused all the time. And he's not scoring that 27 to 30 points a game that I want a true co-star to have. And again, you say, well, Matteo, do a lot of co-stars score that? Well, my answer for you is yes. Yes, they do. I'll bring you guys some stats here. I'll put them on the screen here. And we're just gonna look. So these are player stats sorted by points per game. Okay. So obviously Luka Doncic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander are at the top. You got Tyrese Maxey, Donovan Mitchell, Nikola Jokic, Jaylen Brown, who's the number one star on this team while Tatum's hurt, Anthony Edwards. But then you have Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves is the second, maybe even third when LeBron's playing good on that Lakers team. He's averaging 28. Michael Porter's been playing good. Yeah. Pascal Siakam surprisingly is averaging 24.5 points on that bad team. I know you see, oh, look, there's Julius Randle. Yeah, there's Julius Randle. Yeah, and I'm saying, hey, he's good. He is good. Where is... Oh, dude, hold on. Yeah. But anyway. Yeah, they're averaging good points. And you're saying, okay, Julius Randle is one of the only second co-stars that I see on this list. See Karl Anthony Towns averaging 23 points over in New York, while Jalen Brunson's averaging 28. And you say, well, that's below Julius Randle. I'm not saying to go get Karl Anthony Towns. I'm saying Karl Anthony Towns is also averaging more rebounds than you. Here's the rebound counter. He's averaging a double-double. Karl Anthony Towns is averaging 23, 12, and 4. While Julius Randle is averaging 23, 7, and 6. Now, I know altogether Julius's numbers seem better. But a lot more of these co-stars would be giving you better point production, and we need more offense on this team. Our defense is low-key pretty good. But if you could bring in a guy, a true co-star, by the name of Giannis Antetokounmpo, or maybe even this has been floating this last few days, Kyrie Irving. Fix your point guard spot, and then you can put Edwards back at the 2, and then you figure it out. Maybe you can even keep one of the guys you would have to trade for if you were to trade for Giannis. One thing that does strike me here is that Nickeil Alexander-Walker is averaging 21 points a game. And why didn't we re-sign him? I would have taken him over. I believe they re-signed Mike Conley, and they signed a couple other guys. Yeah, he would want a bigger contract, but I think he liked it here, and that would have given you a good 2-3 kind of player, a shooting guard or a small forward, where he could play both positions well. He could give you that 3-point shot that he has been so good at. 3-point percentage, I do want to see where he is, if he's even in the top 50. Maybe he's not. Steph shooting only 39% from 3 is insane. But obviously you're going to see a lot of stars, and then you're not going to see a lot of repeats because it's extremely difficult to average the amount of points, right? So I'm not trying to get you guys lost, but right now I don't see Julius Randle playing to a co-star level that we need right now. Oklahoma is an exception. because that team is absolutely insane. But here, let's pull up like even like a Golden State Warriors type of team, where they have Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry. Obviously, Steph is hurt right now, but both players are also they're a little older as well. They're a little older. Let's just go to a game against the Phoenix Suns. They beat the Phoenix Suns 118-107. Here, this was earlier in the season. This was on the 4th of November. Yeah, 4th of November. This wasn't a play. I thought it was a play-in tournament game, but no, it's not. I just want to show you guys Steph Curry, 28 points. Now Jimmy Butler only had 2 points in this because I believe what did he get like fouled out? Like what the heck? I don't know. But then you have man, they didn't really have a good co-star here. Never mind. Okay. These comparisons aren't going to be good. But all I'm trying to say is this. Julius Randle, Jaden McDaniels are not good enough co-stars for the Minnesota Timberwolves to win deep into the playoffs if you're competing against teams like Denver or OKC. I think you have to change something, and at least one of those guys has to go, I think. And then you ask, how does that work? Who would we get? And my answer for you is simple. It's Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis Antetokounmpo. For me, Giannis and Anthony Edwards on the same team just seems like you're breaking the league. I feel like, dude, like Giannis, imagine even like a lineup of Giannis, Gobert, DiVincenzo, Anthony Edwards, and then maybe like a Nas Reed. You go absolutely big. Or maybe you promote I don't know who you would promote. Maybe you would trade Gobert for another small forward and then put Nas into the starting lineup. We could talk about that if we do hypothetical trades, which we will get to. But I'm saying like Giannis and Anthony Edwards, I think we could see a 60-win Minnesota Timberwolves team if they do it sooner than later. Obviously, you can't get 60 wins if you lose a bunch of games. Right now, the Minnesota Timberwolves were in a hot streak, and in that hot streak, Anthony Edwards and Dante DiVincenzo were your stars. Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle missed a bunch of shots. This whole slump started with the play-in tournament game against the Phoenix Suns, where Jaden McDaniels and Julius Randle turned the ball over a million times, and we blew the lead. Yes, I know Anthony Edwards missed some foul shots, some regular free throws at the end of the game to ice the game, but that game wouldn't have needed those iced free throws if Julius Randle and Jaden McDaniels would have stepped it up, stopped missing shots. Another thing that kind of just gets me so mad at is when Julius Randle thinks he can just pull up a top of the key shot. Like with 2 seconds left in the shot clock, you don't be doing that. You find Anthony Edwards. You find maybe even a Nas Reed to take those shots, not a Julius Randle. I know he's shooting 50% from three last night, but my goodness. But all this is I'm saying, Anthony Edwards needs a true co-star. Whether that's Kyrie, whether that's Giannis, whether that's somebody else that I haven't talked about yet, they need that, and I believe the Timberwolves will make a move. So now we're talking about what would those moves look like? What could they be? How can we get there financially? And to think about that, we go over to our little trade machine. Here we go. So the Minnesota Timberwolves would obviously be in this trade because we are trading this. And I think let's just start it off with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Milwaukee, what would we have to do to get Giannis Antetokounmpo first financially? How would that be possible? Firstly, if you guys haven't used this trade machine before, I'm going to hit trade deadline mode. Just trade deadline mode. Excuse me. My goodness. Because then it takes all those restrictions off because, hey, if you have restrictions on, yeah, you could take them off, but Trade deadline mode just means everybody is available to trade, and it makes it the easiest. So obviously we will want Giannis to be sent over to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and obviously you would probably send Julius Randle either to Milwaukee or adding another team, which is probably what we would want to do. But let's see if we weren't to trade somebody else. Like if we were to just trade with the Bucks, not with any other teams, which I think we will end up trading with other teams to get Giannis. If we were to do that, it would probably be Randle and McDaniels for Giannis Antetokounmpo. And obviously this passes financially, and then you throw in, your first, and then from 2026, you add in your first from 2028 and your first from 2029. So 3 first-round picks, Julius Randle, Jaden McDaniels. Some would argue this would be a lot. I don't even think it would be enough for Giannis, but yet we've seen other things go. So obviously, they say this one would be successful. Milwaukee would have to waive one player. So hey, maybe we steal a player back here, like bring in Giannis Antetokounmpo, his brother. Add to Minnesota. Does this trade still work? No, this currently fails with the salary cap. That's what I'm saying. Like, they could just waive a player. I feel like they would waive like a Mark Sears or Andre Jackson or something like that. But yeah, so Julius Randle, Jaden McDaniels, and 3 first-round picks. Let me know what you guys think if you would be okay with doing that for Giannis. So, like, we wouldn't even have to get rid of any of our young guys. But then a thing comes up here, and you think, well, now do you want a Gobert, Giannis front court? That's a little too big of bodies with not a little more offense production. I do think Giannis would give you a solid 20, 25, 27 a night probably, and those rebounds would also be huge. So maybe in a way, you want to trade not Mill. They wouldn't want Gobert because they want young players. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, Jaden McDaniels is such a core piece that they could build on. They get first-round picks out of this as well to build on throughout the years. And then they get Julius Randle, who then either maybe stays there or maybe we add him to another team. So, I'm talking about adding other teams. Who would we add this to? Well, the Bulls seem like the perfect fit for this because the Bulls right now, they started hot, and now you're seeing that they're a little young. They need a veteran on this team. So, hypothetically, you could see Julius Randle going on that team and trying to help them in the East. That isn't that good. The East overall isn't that good. So, hold on. Julius Randle needs to go to Chicago. Jaden would still go to Milwaukee. Then I would definitely throw Rob Dillingham in this deal to Milwaukee. Milwaukee would give Giannis to Minnesota. Chicago would have to give something to the Bucks. So basically, they're getting, I was thinking of Vucevic, but he is 35 years old, and it doesn't really fit the timeline of the Milwaukee Bucks. So I'm thinking of like a younger dude, like a Patrick Williams, especially because they're getting a better power forward in Julius Randle. So send him to Milwaukee. So this currently fails because the Bulls acquire too much money, which is, we knew that. The Bucks would acquire Patrick Williams, Jaden McDaniels, and Rob Dillingham, which is a really good package. And then the Timberwolves would acquire that. So we just got to make it work for the Bulls here. And the Bulls just need to give up some more salary if they were to do it. So this Kevin Huerter would probably be the guy. It's the easiest tradable contract. If you think about it, so the new line, or maybe a Zach Collins. Yeah, no, a Zach Collins to Milwaukee would probably fit better. So then, does this work? Minnesota would have 12 players. It needs to be, Milwaukee would have to waive 3 players. So maybe Minnesota gets, Andre Jackson sent to Minnesota, and that should do it. Yep, I think that should do it. Beautiful. So a little recap here. This would work financially. Obviously, I think picks would be happening. I think Minnesota would have to end up adding a couple more picks. So maybe I don't think they would have to give up. So I don't think they would have to give up a pick for Julius, like to trade to the Bulls. So the Bulls will get Julius Randle for basically for Patrick Williams and Zach Collins, but those two go to the Bucks. And then the Bucks get those two, Jaden McDaniels and Rob Dillingham. Timberwolves acquire Andre Jackson Jr. and Giannis Antetokounmpo, which is obviously the big headline. I do think we would probably throw in a pick to Milwaukee and a pick to Chicago just to make everything, work around it. Yes, I think we don't need our 26 and 28 picks because I think we're going to be good enough it would be basically a second round pick. And we have so many second round picks. Look at all these second round picks. But yeah, overall, this is what the trade would look like. Why do I keep saying the Bills? The Bulls would acquire Julius Randle. The Bucks would acquire Zach Collins, Patrick Williams, Jaden McDaniels, and Rob Dillingham. The Timberwolves would acquire Giannis Antetokounmpo and Andre Jackson Jr. And both teams, then the Bulls and the Bucks would both acquire a first-round pick. For the Bucks, I like this a lot. Your new lineup is what? Miles Turner, Patrick Williams, Jaden McDaniels, Rob Dillingham, maybe even in the starting lineup. I know Zach Collins doesn't fit your timeline. Maybe you could throw in Zach Collins just because you have Turner. But hey, Zach Collins could be a sixth man for sure. So you have Miles Turner, Patrick Williams, Jaden McDaniels, Rob Dillingham, and Kevin Porter Jr. probably. Then you have off the bench Kuzma, or you even put Kuzma in your lineup. You put Kuzma, Portis, Trent, and Harris, off your bench. And overall, this team, I think, looks a lot better than what it is right now. And, yes, you get rid of Giannis, but it sets you up for future years. Jaden McDaniels is under contract for the next 3 years. Zach Collins is an expiring contract, but Patrick Williams is another 3 years. Dillingham is another 2 years, and you get that pick from the Minnesota Timberwolves. That could be also the 28 pick, so it just says maybe it could be a little better of a pick because the Timberwolves are probably going to be good, and then you give the Bulls our 26 pick. But then if you look at Chicago, Chicago's new lineup would feature, the backcourt of Colby White, Josh Giddey. Then you have probably, Patrick Williams we trade. So it would be Julius Randle, Vucevic, and yeah, maybe. Oh, and Kevin Huerter. Yeah, that would work. Kevin Huerter. Doesn't matter. But yeah, that lineup looks better than what they have. I think Zach Collins hasn't been doing a lot for the Bulls right now. And then, Patrick Williams, he's replaceable with Julius Randle. But yeah, if there's any Bulls fans watching this, would you say yes to this? Would you agree to help the Bucks and the Timberwolves? And then if you're a Bucks fan, do you like this? Is that a fair enough return for Giannis Antetokounmpo, who only has 2 years left on his deal and probably will retire shortly? But who knows? And then, Timberwolves fans, that's probably who's watching this. Do you guys like this trade idea? If you have any better trade ideas, let me know in the comments down below. I would love, to talk to you about it. And then I forgot, you have Modest. Modest could for sure be in your rotation. So you could have, and put Kevin off the bench. You could have White, Giddey, Modest, Randle, and Vucevic. That team probably goes pretty far in the East because the East is so bad. I think the Bulls like this trade a lot, probably even the best out of them all except the Timberwolves. So it's probably Timberwolves like this trade a lot. Bulls like it a lot. Bucks are like, we're giving up Giannis, but Giannis doesn't want to be there. I'm saying, hey, this could work hypothetically, or something like this could work. But then if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, what would your lineup look like? Well, it would look like this. It would look like DiVincenzo, Edwards in the backcourt. Then you would have Gobert, Giannis, and then here's the problem. I think what you do then, if this were to go through, if this goes through, so we're going to pretend this goes through, you would probably want to trade Gobert as well. Because then you could put Naz Reid at the 5 or even 4, and then Giannis at the 4 or 5. And then you need another 3 to, back up to be that Jaden replacement, just kind of. I'm trying to think who could that be? Who would want Gobert too? The Atlanta Hawks could want Gobert. Um, Detroit, I don't think so. The 76ers, no, because they have Embiid. Is there a Western Conference team? Imagine Gobert on the Lakers. That would be insane. Or like the Golden State Warriors. Would the Golden State Warriors hypothetically want a Rudy Gobert? I think that team could be very good. I know they're very old, but like you give me like not a Jimmy Butler, or maybe bring Jimmy Butler back here. That would be insane. They don't really have, who we need. We need a solid small forward here. I'm trying to think of the teams. Like a Mavericks, probably not. They have AD for sure. I mean, AD for sure could get traded. We're not going to trade with one of our rivals in Denver, OKC. Bring like the Houston Rockets, probably not. They have a young team. They have a good team. Phoenix, like a Dylan Brooks, maybe. Or like Memphis, I'm guessing will be selling. Memphis will probably be selling. So like uh Jaren Jackson, probably not. Like they not a lot of people have a good solid small forward. But yeah, I think if that trade that we did, that three-way trade would happen, the Timberwolves would probably trade Gobert as well. Because I don't think you want Gobert and Giannis, but I could be I could be wrong. Maybe like an Orlando team. Orlando giving, they don't have a lot of big tradable contracts like we have with Gobert. Gobert's, you know, his contract's massive. But like a Desmond Bain is like, that's not what we need. But like a Franz Wagner, like, do they give up Franz? Like, do they give up Franz? Like, I know this is probably a little bit unrealistic, but like, you send Franz to Minnesota. This thing currently fails. What? Why does it? Oh, because yeah, I still think Orlando's acquiring too much salary. That's hilarious. Could you add in like a Tyus Jones? That helps your it still fails. What the heck? Oh, because we're in second apron team. But something like that for a Gobert, and then you would add in, picks. Like we added that pick, like a 29 pick, a 30 pick, and you know, those all those types of picks we would probably add, but like maybe a Franz Wagner could be an interesting acquisition, but what the heck? Anyway, if that trade wasn't to happen, the other person I keep talking about would be Kyrie Irving. This rumor has been circling for like maybe 48 hours. Oh shoot. Orlando's still in here. I don't think this would be a three-way trade. I think this would just be a Mavericks Timberwolves trade. I think they need somebody to help Cooper Flag and like Kyrie. I know we all know he's hurt, but he is a solid point guard, and I think Minnesota does need a point guard, and this is probably where you could keep one of the guys in Randall or McDaniels. Personally, I would keep McDaniels over Randall. I'd send Randall over to Dallas for Kyrie Irving. The Timberwolves would acquire too much money, correct? Both teams, I mean, are struggling with the cap. So maybe you send in like a Mike Conley. They probably wouldn't take that. Maybe you'd send a Rob Dillingham in this trade. You send Rob Dillingham, and then you find somebody making not a lot of money here. not Dante Exum, not they're all two-way contracts. Brendan Williams, I guess we could just something like that. It's all with the money stuff, so I'm not going to try to do too much here with the money because it would take forever. But yeah, obviously this is a world where the Giannis trade wouldn't happen. Then you send Randall and two firsts hypothetically. Not a swap, just a normal, just like a I don't know normal trade or two here with those picks. So the Timberwolves. I know. My bad. I was on Dallas. That's why it wasn't making sense. I didn't think we had that many picks, but yeah, add in two first round picks. So the Mavericks would acquire Randall, Dillingham, and two firsts. I even think that might be too much for Kyrie Irving. So maybe even a way you could try, I don't want Brendan Williams. Maybe you take him out. You try to get not an old contract, but right now it's under $1 million short. So it's only a couple $100,000. So it's who do we want? Do we want D'Lo back? They have a lot of guards on the team? Excuse me. So a Jaden Hardy, add a Jalen Hardy to this team, and then somebody making $5 million. This is where it gets hard. All the salary. You send Mike Conley. Send Mike Conley, out there to Talus, and then things like that. Who says no to this trade? I mean, I feel like this trade is definitely the harder one to work out. But I do think we could make it work hypothetically. And so those are my two main trades of what I would want to see from the Timberwolves. In a way, could you do a Gobert for Gobert's contract is what you could use for this. Take Conley out of this. Yeah. See, so this one would probably work. So Gobert, Dillingham, and two first round picks for Kyrie Irving, and then you probably need to add somebody making a little less money because they said they were $1 million short. So they're $5 million short. So we need somebody making $5 million. Derek Lively, he's 21 though. They probably wouldn't give it to a D'Lo. Could work. Dwight Powell, he's also an expiring contract. I know that it's $1 million short, but it just makes it a little easier. Gobert, Dillingham, and two firsts for Kyrie and Dwight Powell. Maybe I like that a little bit more. Obviously, then you don't have a center, so obviously this would make more sense if you were doing the Giannis trade where you would trade a Gobert. Let's actually do that. Let's see if we could do it in a way where we keep Jaden McDaniels. I don't know if that would be possible because I do know a lot of people want Jaden McDaniels. So obviously the Bulls would still be in this trade. The Bucks, and then the Timberwolves obviously would still be getting. I don't know if we could swap all the salaries to fit with Gobert's salary. So Milwaukee would send Giannis Antetokounmpo obviously to the Minnesota Timberwolves, where then we could send Gobert over to Milwaukee. Would that low-key work? I wonder. And then the Bulls need to get something. So the Bulls would get we're just dumping salary. The Bulls would get Julius Randle. I just want to see what we need to work with here to make this work. This is an incomplete trade. Milwaukee needs to receive something. No, Milwaukee isn't receiving anything. What? I think they are. So we could send let's just do Patrick Williams to Milwaukee. So obviously this would currently fail. The Bulls would acquire Julius Randle. Bucks would acquire Gobert and Patrick Williams. And the Timberwolves would acquire Giannis Antetokounmpo. Obviously, this probably wouldn't work. But hey, actually, never mind. We could probably work it around where you send Gobert to. Yeah, maybe a Gobert to Chicago could be interesting as well. You could put Gobert to Chicago. You could send then Julius to Milwaukee. So you just do that flip flop thing. Does it still work financially with Giannis? Yes, it does. Um, the Bulls still acquire too much money, so the Bulls would have to send somebody else out, which is very, pretty, normal and what I was expecting. So maybe you send like a Kevin over to Milwaukee. I know this doesn't look good in general, but Milwaukee gets Randall, Kevin, and Williams. The Bulls get Gobert. Timberwolves get Giannis Antetokounmpo. I do think we could give the Bulls a 26 pick, just because they're taking Gobert's salary, so it's a little bit money more there. And then to give the Bucks our 28 first round pick as well. So like something like that could work maybe. Could maybe work if both all of the teams decided that would okay. I do think the previous Bulls Bucks Timberwolves trade would be a little bit better, but yeah, I want Giannis on my team. I want Giannis on my team for sure. If I'm the Timberwolves, and I think that could elevate your chances of winning a title. And so we'll just see what they end up doing. There's still a good solid 3 months left for trades to happen and rumors to happen. But I did want to see like some like what are people hypothetically talking about the Giannis trades? Like if they say here, if Giannis requests a trade, could the Spurs be the best trade package? So like, what would they say? This fails because of all the restrictions right now because of the it's not with the recently signed stuff, but it would be 1, 2, 3. They have 4 first round picks: De'Aaron Fox, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, and Carter Bryant for Kuzma. And okay, I mean, I see this. So they have 4 first rounders. I do think Julius Randle is a bit stronger than some of these players, and then like a Rob Dillingham, or Jaden McDaniels. That's why I wouldn't put as many picks in if I were the Timberwolves. But for the Spurs to keep their young core intact, and keep Wemby, like Giannis and Wemby is insane. That would be insane, for sure. I just want to see if some other ones are here. 7 days ago, I don't like seeing Anthony Davis to the Bucks. I don't know if that totally is what we need here, but this does go financially. The Knicks get a first round pick and Giannis. The Karl Anthony Towns goes to the Mavericks. Holy. Um, and then the Bucks get Anthony Davis, who I guess he isn't as old. Um, just a player to match salary, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 first round picks. Both some from the Knicks, some from the Mavs. The Mavs get Towns, which they get younger. I like this when I'm talking Bucks and Mavericks. I don't think I like this for the Knicks. As much as people keep saying, "Oh, Giannis wants to go to the Knicks," I don't think he wants to go to the Knicks. And I don't think it's the best fit for him, just the way they play it. But yeah, I mean, that would be any Giannis trade will be very interesting to watch. Giannis to LA for Hachimura, Reeves, Vanderbilt, and a couple of firsts for Win. That would guarantee. I think that would maybe almost guarantee. What's it called? Oklahoma City, LA Lakers, like matchup in the Western Conference Finals. I think that would be an insane to watch. LeBron, Luka, Giannis all on the same team against Shea, J Dub, Chet. Whew. I might be picking the Lakers in that series if that were to happen. Obviously, they do lose a lot of their bench. But yeah, that's an interesting one. I just like to see what people are thinking because these are just everyday people. I wanted to see if there's any Timberwolves in here. They have a Booker trade. That's insane. Um, with Giannis going to Phoenix, I don't know about that. Is this a good trade? I don't think the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to be trading anybody by any time right now. There's a lot. I mean, he's the most trending player on these trade apps and stuff, just because that's all people are talking about right now. But yeah, as we were talking about picks, the Minnesota Timberwolves have their first round pick in 2026, and then Utah has controlled their 2027 first round pick. We control our 28, and then it's most likely going to be Utah getting their 29 pick, and then we have our 30, and then Sacramento actually has their 2031 pick, and then we have our 2032 pick. Those are all for first round picks. That's just some upcoming deadlines, some cap holds, and stuff like that. But when you look at everybody under contract, and then you see a lot of free agents who have, Jalen Clark as a restricted free agent next year. You have Joe Ingles. He's probably not going to resign here. Highland is a free agent. Conley's a free agent. But then otherwise, you have Edwards, Gobert, Randall, McDaniels, Nas, DiVincenzo, Dillingham, Baron J, and Shannon all under contract for the next year. That overall is a very good base point. So maybe if you don't trade, you still have a good, decent point to have some good regular season success. I just don't think this team is good enough, as is, to make a deep playoff run. I think Giannis would be the perfect trade for that, for the Minnesota Timberwolves. But yeah, I think that's going to do it. I think that is going to do it for today's episode here on Inside the Zone with Matteo. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you haven't already, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn the notification button on so you never ever miss a short or any other episodes of my podcast. Or I've been doing a lot of 2K stuff over there with my rebuilding every NBA team in one season, trying to win them a championship. It's been a frustrating series. We still haven't won one, but go ahead and check those out too if you're interested in that world. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to keep God first, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.